It's Catholic Schools Week here in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, so join us as we learn more about what it is and what's going on in our Catholic schools. Welcome to Around the Archdiocese.
Sharing information, insights, and stories about our Catholic faith from across the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, you're listening to Around the Archdiocese. Here's your host, Sean O'Driscoll.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Sean O'Driscoll, and I am blessed to serve as the Senior Communications Manager here for the Archdiocese and your host for this program. Today, I want to share with you a conversation I had with Dr. Angela Johnson and Maribel Mendoza-Rojas about Catholic Schools Week and some of the amazing things that are going on in our Catholic schools here across the Archdiocese. If you want to learn more about our Catholic schools, or you're considering a Catholic education for your children, you can learn more by visiting their website at choosecatholicschools.org. We'll make sure to put the link for that in the show notes for this episode as well. So without further ado, let's start the show. I am joined here in the studio with two members of our Catholic Schools office. First, we have with us Dr. Angela Johnson, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Mission and Catholic Identity for the Archdiocese. Angie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
And Maribel Mendoza-Rojas, who is the Director of Faith Formation for the Catholic Schools office. Maribel, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Catholic Schools Week. Explain to our listeners, what exactly is it?
Catholic Schools Week is it's time to really celebrate all of the Catholic schools throughout the country. It's a national initiative, and we just celebrate all the good work that the Catholic schools are doing and the blessings that God provides to our principals, our faculty, staff, our student community, our parents, and of course, led by our pastors and all the clergy who govern them. So there's so many great things happening in our Catholic schools during that week, with all school masses and different parent events that they host for our school communities, different performances, and the countless number of open houses to kick off enrollment. So it's a really exciting time at the beginning of the calendar year to really highlight our Catholic schools.
So it really is a celebration of our Catholic schools, the parents, the families, what really makes it a community and something unique from the secular school system.
Absolutely. And that's why it kicks off on a Sunday. Usually at the parochial schools, it kicks off with a Sunday Mass, and the students are typically involved in a school Mass for the community. And it's usually when open house is kicking off. So
during Catholic Schools Week, there's a theme per day, activities every day throughout the week. There's a theme per day during that week. So Sunday, it's celebrating your parish, which that's where many of the schools have the school mass. And then Monday, celebrating your community. Tuesday, celebrating your students. Wednesday, celebrating the nation. Thursday, celebrating vocations. And Friday, celebrating faculty, staff, and volunteers. So that's the entire week for Catholic Schools Week.
And this is different from Discover Catholic Schools Week, which was just started a couple of years ago nationally. That takes place in the fall.
That's right.
And that's more of an opportunity, if I understand correctly, invite families and parents and young people to come and really find out about the Catholic schools in their area if they're not already enrolled or participating with them.
Yes, that's exactly correct. Discover Catholic Schools Week usually does some of the same or similar initiatives or efforts, but in January, when the Catholic Schools Week usually takes place, it really is highlighted. Schools usually have various events on a much grander scale, and so there are a lot of events and initiatives that are happening during that week that are really kicked off to highlight registration and enrollment. So that's it. It's really probably one of the most exciting weeks of the school year.
Now, Maribel, for you, being the Director of Faith Formation, having that religious component, the ability to talk about our faith in a school setting. What is Catholic Schools Week for you from your perspective?
For me is having to create a new Catholic identity module along with Angie. It's going to go live this week, Catholic Schools Week. And, this module will really help the teachers understand the requirements, not just from the Archdiocese here that Cardinal has mentioned or anything like that, but from TCCBD as well. So we're very excited about that as a domain of mission and Catholic identity. We've worked very hard for this. So we're just excited to hopefully the module will help teachers better understand and be able to obtain the requirements that the TCCBD has, for all religion teachers.
So that's the Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops who set the educational guidelines.
Yes.
For the Catholic schools in the state.
Yes, that is correct.
And they have the TCCB-ED, so the education department, which operates under the TCCB.
Got it. Thank you. So I'm just kind of amazed that you would think teaching our Catholic identity, that should be something we already have down. And yet we're still making sure that we're updating, that we're innovating, that we're staying up to date with the latest pedagogy and trends and initiatives. How often do you guys review, the curriculum or those modules?
And also making sure that teachers are aware of the church documents, that they understand them, and that at the end of the day, we're providing the best Catholic education to the children enrolled in our schools.
Now,
yes, and in addition to that, as you said, Sean, in updating and reviewing, there's also this aspect of making sure that we're clear to our Catholic school community that while many things typically in the secular schools, things are updated, there are times when we can look at our Catholic schools and reemphasize that many things have not changed in a very positive way. Our mission has not changed. We are still focused on the salvation of souls. We are still focused on making sure that our students and our entire school community gets to heaven. And we're still focused on preparing saints. Our governance and our church hierarchy has not changed. And so we have to reemphasize sometimes that, yes, there are updates and changes, and sometimes there are not updates and changes, and that has to be expressed and reminded too.
I know when my children were in Catholic school, that there was that emphasis of trying to integrate a STEM curriculum and directive. And yet even within that, we sort of adapted that and created, what's the acronym, STREAM?
Yes.
And the R actually stands for religion.
That's
so making
right.
sure that while we were updating and staying up to date with what the other schools are doing, that we didn't lose one of those core components of who we are in our faith. Now, Maribel, we were talking before we started recording, and you actually came from a secular school into Catholic schools. Can you tell us a little bit about that story? I thought that was really wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm actually a product of Fort Bend ISD. I graduated from Hightower High School, right? But my first job was in Alvin ISD, which is like literally 5 minutes away from where I used to live. So I thought that was the best job I could possibly ask for, right? But it is very different. Just even the children, the way they speak, the way they act, and they're not able to pray at all, not even. I know that during lunch, there was a few, maybe a handful that would just do their little prayer by themselves, like trying to hide. And whenever they would gather in the morning assembly, there's no prayer. It's just the regular, what you do in a public school, right? So for me personally, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I have to be somewhere where I can share the great things that God has done for me, as well as the gifts that God has given me. So
then you went from Alvin ISD, you went to
Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic School.
Wonderful. And how long were you there?
I was there until it closed due to COVID in 2021. And then after that, I was at Holy Ghost Catholic School for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came here to the Catholic Schools office. So Our Lady of Mount Carmel is always very close to me. I work very closely with Father Abelardo Cobos. I learned so much from him as well. I am very grateful for the opportunity. But Catholic identity was one thing that even the teachers there at that time knew that I was very strong about. Even starting with the classrooms having a prayer table, but not keeping the tablecloth the same color because we have a liturgical calendar, right? So let's change it to green, purple, or white.
So not just instilling Christianity,
yes.
but really a focus on our Catholic identity.
Yes, exactly. So little things like that way students, whenever they would go to Mass on Sundays or even during the weekdays, like if they had the opportunity to, but whenever they would go to Sunday Mass with their families, they could relate to, okay, I can see purple going on. It's Lenten season or Advent season. And I also see it over at the parish side versus not having those. I don't know. I just think like if the students are in a Catholic school, it really has to be, I mean, you have to see Catholic in it, the Catholic identity, the same as whenever you go to Sunday Mass with your family. And it's not just, hey, why is it over here like this, but not over here like this, you know? So
it's a reminder of that integration of our
correct.
faith really into every aspect of our lives, whether we're at school, whether we're at Mass, whether we're at work, with our family, our friends, wherever we happen to be, God is there.
Correct.
We are there, and our faith is relevant and applicable in those situations.
Mm.
And we also want to just keep in mind to the school community that the Catholic school is truly a ministry of the parish. Especially in our parochial schools, but always keeping in mind that our Catholic schools are at the service of our Catholic Church. So we do try to emphasize the liturgical living aspect of our Catholic schools.
That's beautiful. Now, Angie, did you go to Catholic school growing up? Are you a product of a Catholic education?
I am not.
You are not.
No, like Maribel, I went to public schools. I went to Klein ISD and graduated from Klein Oak. And so, but as early as I could, I picked a Catholic school and went to Franciscan University and graduated from there. So I am a proud Catholic University graduate, like Maribel.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where my love for Catholic schools came from. And so I just enjoyed that Catholic University experience so much and wanted to share that. So when I graduated, like Maribel, I too went to Our Lady of Mount Carmel a few years before she did. So we didn't get to work together there, unfortunately. But Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic School is a very special place here in Houston, even if it's not open anymore. Gave me a chance and a love for Catholic school.
And if I remember correctly, you have a background. Is it in special education?
That's correct. Yes, in special education.
So really kind of a heart for serving, you know, with not just within education, but really serving a specific group that has very specific needs.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, what it allows me to do and what it helped me to do was to be able to explore a skill set and develop a skill set that would allow me to serve any of God's children who walked into my classroom. And that's really how the background just kind of evolved, Sean, so that whoever walked into my classroom, I could serve and meet their needs.
And you've also served as a principal before in a Catholic school. That was in a different diocese, correct?
That's right. And that actually was a Catholic special education school in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
So very, very different type of school, but very beautiful. And it's not the only one in the country. There are 3 there in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and a few more throughout the country. Very few of them, but it is a Catholic school. It is an archdiocesan school operated by the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and it served it still serves students with intellectual disabilities and provides them a faith-filled learning environment so that their needs can be met within a Catholic school.
So if I can ask, you get this education, you have this amazing opportunity in a wonderful school. What brought you back to Houston?
Dr. Debbie Haney brought me back to Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, which I'm incredibly thankful for. And so what happened was my father would read the Texas Catholic Herald. He still reads the Texas Catholic Herald every time it comes out, the hard copy version. And so he saw the position posted in the Texas Catholic Herald, and he called me and asked me to apply for it. And I thought it was a really long shot and tried to convince him otherwise, but he convinced me otherwise. And so I applied, and sure enough, Dr. Haney offered me the position, and I was thrilled to come back home. This is my home, and this is the Archdiocese that I grew up in, and where my faith, the seeds of my faith were planted and have grown. So happy to come back home and give back wherever I can, whether it's in the Catholic schools office or at the parish level. It's a very, very exciting time to be here in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, because there is just so much growth happening, not only in our city, but in our Archdiocese. We can see so many baptisms and confirmations, especially just in January alone. I think I read we're over 700. So it's just an exciting time to be in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, and our Catholic schools are indeed growing, and we're building with St. Peter's Catholic High School. And so there's just so much growth happening in the enrollment and throughout the Archdiocese. So I am just incredibly blessed and thankful to be here.
So you mentioned St. Peter's Catholic, and that's the newest high school in the Archdiocese, which technically opened last year, but they just renovated the old St. Peter the Apostle School to turn it into the new high school. And this has the distinction of being the first career and technical high school, Catholic high school in Texas. What exactly is a career and technical high school?
So the career and technical education approach that St. Peter's will offer is really, it's a pretty dynamic. It's not very new at the national level, but it will be the second career and technical Catholic high school, second to one in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, actually. So, but like you said, the first in Texas. What it does is it will offer very unique programs that are focused on vocational training. So it won't necessarily offer a traditional college preparatory curriculum and program, but will focus on skills that students can use immediately after graduation and apply in the career setting. So it's a little bit different from the other high schools in that way.
Interesting. So as we continue to grow, we also recognize that we have some ongoing success stories in our diocese. And the first one that comes to mind just from this school year is St. Lawrence Catholic School down in Sugar Land, which had a very unique, highly sought after distinction awarded to them for the third time, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
In their history?
National Blue Ribbon. Yes, that's right.
So one of our Catholic schools wasn't recognized as a National Blue Ribbon school.
So what the National Blue Ribbon recognizes is the outstanding academic excellence and achievement of an entire school. It joins the ranks of numerous other Catholic schools in our Archdiocese who have been recognized for their outstanding academic contributions and their phenomenal achievement. And so they will join schools like St. Anne in Houston and St. Vincent de Paul with their 3-time National Blue Ribbon Award. So it's very exciting because it is a lot of hard work that goes into achieving a certain standard. So Catholic schools are also pretty known for their academic excellence. And so to be recognized by the U.S. Department of Education for their standard of recognition it's an incredible achievement and an outstanding reward.
That's wonderful. And of course, it's not just the academic side, but also the spiritual side that our Catholic schools nurture. How are the Catholic schools participating in the National Eucharistic Revival that's happening right now in the United States?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked, Sean, because they are participating in really promoting our Bishop's Initiative on this Eucharistic Revival.
In our schools, there's a lot of our, especially religion coordinators who we work very closely with, are making sure that our students are having adoration time, a time for them to just go into the chapel in moment of silence, or just pray for their families, for mom, dad, siblings, but making sure that they have that time for adoration during this year.
So one of our goals this year for all of our Catholic schools is to increase and promote opportunities in our Catholic schools for Eucharistic adoration and worshiping the Lord in the Eucharist. And so many of our schools have really put forth additional opportunities to worship the Lord in the Eucharist. Some schools have increased the amount of time that students can adore our Lord. Some schools have increased the number of all-school weekly masses. We've seen a number of Eucharistic processions throughout the Archdiocese and throughout our Catholic schools as well. And so our Catholic schools from the elementary all through the high school are really promoting this Bishop's Initiative and have really worked so hard to foster this love of the Lord in the Eucharist and to really get behind the Bishop's initiative. So it's a very exciting time for our Catholic schools. And I think we'll continue to see this not only outpouring of support, but this growth of faith and love for our Lord in the Eucharist.
And Angie and I will be attending
in Indianapolis.
You guys will be joining for the National Congress.
Yes, we have a few others in our Catholic schools office who'll be joining as well. So we'll be attending with the rest of the Archdiocese who is sending a group. And so we're excited to be part of that national effort.
So we have the academic and we have the spiritual. Now, the extracurriculars. I know St. Edward Catholic School, their choir just had an amazing opportunity over this last holiday break. Can you share with us a little bit about what they were able to do?
Well, St. Edward just came back from Rome. They sang at the Vatican for Pope Francis, and
wow,
that is such an exciting time, and we are so excited for them. And the pictures and the posts were outstanding if you haven't seen them, Sean. So they have so many amazing things going on out there at St. Edward's. So Father Christian Bowie and Mrs. Erin McKell are just so blessed, and we are so blessed to have their leadership in promoting the music and the sacred gifts that our students have. So it's been great.
I know the students were just so excited about the opportunity, not just to go to Rome, but to actually participate in the liturgy and actually be in the presence of the Holy Father.
Yes.
I know they were able to have an audience with him, with all the participants at the event, and to be at a couple different masses at some of the basilicas, and then to celebrate New Year's Mass at St. Peter's with the Holy Father.
Yes.
That's kind of on my bucket list, go to a papal mass with the Pope, but that these young people have that experience and that memory that just helps to kind of root their faith into something very tangible. It's not just their own school or their own parish, but to really see the international makeup of what this body of Christ really is.
Yes, absolutely. And if if I recall, there were some students as young as first grade. And
Wow.
so, multiple ages. So for them to have that blessing that you just talked about, to be able to, represent your Catholic school and be in the presence of the Holy Father at such a young age, I think it's such an exciting experience.
Now, all this takes a lot from the leadership, from the principals, the teachers. They have to give so much to make all these things possible. And apart from professional development, the Catholic Schools Office does a lot to really feed the faculty, the staff, the administration, to feed them spiritually as well, right?
Last month in December, we had our Catholic Schools Leadership Retreat, which is basically all principals from the elementary schools gather and have a day to just simply disconnect from school, from their daily things that they have to do every day, and focus on the Lord, So they have a retreat, and we had our retreat this past on December 6th at St. Mary's Seminary in Cardinal, celebrating Mass. And after that, we had Kim Brown, the director from Christian Renewal Center, provided the afternoon talk, and Father Justin Cormie was with us in the morning. It was a very fruitful day for their principals. They really like the fact that we provide a retreat during Advent season, because they have so many things to do, right? They're always busy, and just a time to disconnect and be able to refocus on why are they even here at the schools that they are, that they're the principals at, So that was something really, really good that we had going on. And next month, we're actually finalizing some things. We will have the Archdiocesan Catholic Schools Day of Prayer and Reflection. Will be at Prince of Peace Catholic Community. We will have Cardinal join us, celebrate Mass, and after that, we have two speakers. We will have Father David Michael Moses, who will join us, and Father Victor Perez. So we are very excited of having them. So a really nice event where all teachers and principals gather just to have a day of prayer and reflection. So we're really excited about that. It's coming up. So please keep us in your prayers so everything can go well. And hopefully it's a fruitful day for everyone who attends.
It's not just about passing on the faith to the children, to the students, but that the Catholic Schools Office really has, or makes a priority of, feeding the faculty and staff spiritually as well, that they can't give what they don't have. And so the fact that you guys are able to provide these opportunities to take time away to say, no, we care about your hearts. We care about your souls as well. It's not just what we do, but it's about who we are. And that's so wonderful to hear that you guys are able to do that for the principals and for the teachers and the staff. So knowing that there's all this stuff happening in our schools every day that we also just don't hear about, because if you're not there, you don't get to experience it. What would you say to a family who is kind of hearing about all these amazing things happening, whether it's from the education side or the faith side, or, these amazing experiences that are possible? What do you say to a family who's maybe considering a Catholic school right now? What's the next step for them to inquire about Catholic education for their children?
The first thing I would say to any family who's possibly interested is to go ahead and schedule a tour, whether it's online, call the school, but get into the school as quickly as you can, to go and see it, not just as a parent, but as a family, to take your children and tour the school, to get in the school. I highly recommend taking the children. I actually don't recommend, leaving the children out of the process, because it's going to be the place that they are going to attend. And so I would urge any family who's discerning or who has even remotely thought about the idea of Catholic school, to get in and to come as quickly as you can and to experience it for yourself and your family, to see and feel the difference of the Catholic school environment. I think that when you bring your entire family to come into the Catholic school, you will experience Christ when you walk into that door. You'll experience a different kind of leadership that is Christ-centered, that is focused on the family and the mission of the family that our many popes, especially Pope John Paul II or St. John Paul II, have talked about. So I highly recommend and encourage any family to come through that Catholic school. Schedule that tour today if you can, and go ahead and if they've got an appointment and they've got availability today, go ahead and take that opportunity as quickly as you can, because nothing can really quite replace the experience of walking through the Catholic school when it's in session, when you can see the difference, when you can feel the difference in the environment of the students, the teachers, and what a focus on Christ really feels like, and what that experience is like. It's pretty indescribable, Sean. And so I'd also recommend, checking out or attending an all-school mass. It's a very powerful experience to bring your children to an all-school mass where the congregation is full of students. And it's one thing to have mass on a Sunday. But for the children, when you are considering Catholic education, when you see a student-led mass in the Catholic school, it's just a beautiful witness of what Catholic school is all about.
So really echoing those words of Christ to quite literally come and see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another thing I would say is, don't let money stop you from even going on a tour. If you don't ask, then you don't receive, right? Yeah. Ask and you shall receive. As a parent, you can ask and see what they say. It might not be the parish. The school that gives you financial assistance, it might be the parish side. I actually have two of my godchildren. They're at St. Helen Catholic School, and they love it. One of them was at Our Lady of Mount Carmel since pre-K 3, but after it closed, they went over to St. Helen, and they're very happy. I have another, one of my nephews, he's also my godchild. He's at St. Lawrence Catholic School. Oh my God, he loves it as well. And his little brother, even on Sunday masses, he's already doing what he's doing. If he's kneeling down, if he's standing up, and he's just 3, and he's doing whatever the kindergartner is doing. So, it's a beautiful thing to see your children, those that you love, be Christ-centered, do things and show reverence to our Lord, and it's just very beautiful. So may the money, tuition not stop a family from even visiting the school and, applying.
And I want to echo that, what Maribel said, because so many times we hear that families won't even try or won't even tour a school for that reason. And Maribel's absolutely right. And we just can't emphasize that enough, how generous our schools actually can be, especially if you just take the time to explain or to seek out. And that's not just for our parochial schools. That's for all of our schools. That's for the parochial schools, the independent schools, the high schools, have been so generous in their tuition assistance. And so it's definitely an area that, parents should really seek out.
And of course, anyone who wants to assist with that, we do graciously accept any donations to
Absolutely.
Our Archdiocesan Tuition Assistance Fund. And if people want to get involved and just see the Catholic community in action, specifically the Catholic school community in action, the annual Steps for Students 5K Run Walk is coming up on February 10th, and there's still time to sign up for that.
Yes, there is.
And money raised for that will either go directly to the Catholic school of your choice, or you can actually run and raise donations, do fundraising, that'll actually go into the Archdiocesan Tuition Assistance Fund. So if anyone wants to find more information on that, that's available at stepsforstudents.org. That's steps, the number 4 students.org. And we'll go ahead and put that link in the show notes for this episode for people who are willing. But it's actually the single largest event that we hold in the Archdiocese every year. Somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 people register,
Yes.
Whether to run in person or to be what they call a snoozer, support a Catholic education without ever getting out of bed.
That's right.
And to see that many children and families and young people out here just celebrating that Catholic school community. I've been involved with it for the last maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an amazing thing to witness, to see them all come together and the camaraderie and the joy that they all experience. And I know, Angie, you help out with that every year. We see you out there on the course, and Maribel, we'll see you this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice. Looking forward to that day. That's always a fun time. So obviously this week we're putting an emphasis on our Catholic schools, but this is something that we want to make sure that we're praying for and praying about on a constant basis, that whether our children are in our Catholic schools, in a parish faith formation program, that we are conscious and intentional about passing on and sharing our faith with the next generation of Catholics. And so to that end, I want to encourage all of our listeners, if you're listening to this, stop and say a prayer for our Catholic schools, for the 56 schools in our network of Catholic schools here in the Archdiocese that are serving over 17,000 students right now. Stop and say a prayer for them, for the faculty, for the staff, for the families, the pastors, everyone involved. Angie, Maribel, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thanks for having us. We are always thrilled to talk about our Catholic schools and the great work that our schools are doing and the ways that they're serving the Lord. So thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you so much for having us, and keep us in your prayers as well. Pray for the Catholic Schools Office. Thank you.
And if you want to learn more about the Catholic schools, you can find our CSO website, choosecatholicschools.org. And again, we'll put that link in the show notes as well for people to go and find out more about the Catholic Schools Office, about the programs that are offered, tuition assistance, and even a list of all the Catholic schools with an interactive map where they can find which school is actually closest to them. Because there's really not a part of the Archdiocese where you're more than 20 minutes away from a Catholic school.
That's right.
And for the
That's right,
size of
Sean.
our diocese, that's really, really amazing.
Yes, it really is. We're widespread. So please feel free to reach out and locate that school, and please tour as soon as you possibly can.
And as always, if you want to learn more about the ministries and offices of the Archdiocese, you can find us online at archgh.org. That's archgh.org. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again soon, here on Around the Archdiocese.